our Friday morning webinar. I've been really looking forward to this one for a number of reasons, but including that David's actually a good friend and has been since I think 2014. We met through a mutual mentor, Paul Dunn, which is pretty pretty exciting. That's what, 7 years ago now. That has flown. But today's webinar is all around how to navigate 2021. Which is a guide that David's going to share on building a true asset that runs independent of the business owner. And that's pretty interesting, right? The concept of having a business. And what I often see a little bit too much is that, from a profitability perspective or a time spent in the business, the owners are essentially in the position of having a job rather than a true business where they own it rather than work in it all the time. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what David's got to share. But before we do that, we've still got a few people dropping into the webinar. I can see people joining every couple of seconds. Good day, Rick. Good to see you on here. Rebecca, Shane. If I'm guessing that you can all hear me, so if you just want to give a hands up if you can. And Rose, we might actually share the next webinar that we've got. Thanks for the hands. Appreciate that. So before we get into today's webinar, I'm going to share what we've got coming up as well. So on the 12th of May, we've got the 2021 federal budget update. So Riz, one of our accountants, and I are going to run through basically a debrief on the federal budget, which gets released on the Tuesday the night before. So the 11th of May is when the announcements are made. So literally lunchtime the next day, we're going to have quite a bit of content. And the focus that we're going to have is on business owners, self-managed super funds, and investors. So that's kind of the lens we're looking through. There's a lot covered in the budget, but that's our lens and what that means for those three categories, which, again, really looking forward to that one as well. But we are here today to hear from David Dugan. And just a brief intro, David is a world-renowned business coach, an author, a high-performance mentor, and keynote speaker with over 15 years experience. He's the founder of Abundance Global, which supports small and medium businesses and entrepreneurs from around the world. Abundance Global has been a 2 times Telstra Business Award finalist, and his clients have enjoyed an average year-on-year net profit increase of 253% for the last 6 years in a row. And that is immensely impressive. I've been working with David myself for probably around 3 years now, and David's the only, or Abundance Global is the only business coach who I've seen ask for our numbers or clients' numbers every single month. And there's a bit of a rule that we need to submit them by the 10th of the month. But they are analysed. David's got an internal CFO that looks at all this stuff, and even that on its own is impressive, and I think differentiates himself from a lot of the other business coaches out there. So, David, I'm going to hand over to you, and yeah, we're really excited to hear what you've got to share with our audience.
Great. Well, Ben, thanks very much, buddy. Good to be on here. Good to see the team. And as you know, a lot of our members are also clients of yours, and I think it's a good symbiotic relationship. There are a lot of people who do coaching in lots of different worlds, and we love that. Here's what I know: if you're not talking numbers in the coaching sessions, then it's okay. It's marketing coaching, or it's lifestyle coaching, or mindset coaching, but it's not business coaching. So that's from our perspective, and the numbers speak. So I think that's super important. But if I could set the frame for this, Ben, as you know, and this is for all the participants, some I may have met before, some are new. I know most times when people are doing presentations, you got your phone on the side, you're watching this, and you're checking your social media out and doing. That's all good. That is not this session. I'm super interactive. And I'm going to be asking for your feedback on things. You need to jump into the chat and do stuff, because I'm going to make sure that I'm going to give you, we've got 55 minutes. I'm going to give you all I can in these 55 minutes. There's a heap of content in there. There's going to be a Q&A. When we open a Q&A, this is where you can have your questions answered. I've got my notes here, so we're going to do this freeform, but you're going to need to be engaged. You're going to need to be on fire, because I want to make sure that you get the most out of the investment of time that you've got. And I've got a very wise mentor that once said to me, you can invest your money, and if you lose it, you can always make it back again. But when you look at time, it needs to be invested wisely, because you don't get that back. So I'm going to give you absolutely everything. I'm going to encourage you, if you've got a pen and paper, you got your iPad and ready to take notes, because I'm going to be talking fast and I'm going to ask for your feedback. So even though I've got the content we're going to go through, I've also got time that I'm going to go, hey, what do you guys think? And then I'll come back and give you my thoughts to make sure that it's completely on point for the amazing people that are on here today. Is that all right with everyone? Now, I know I can't see everyone's face on here, but can I get like a thumbs up from everyone that we're getting there, or a hand up? There we go. That would be great. So we're not firing up. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Rebecca, Claire. Good at. See you running there. Beautiful. Okay. All right, champions. That's good. Good. Great. Well, we're going to jump in. I am based in Queensland, and my brain goes faster than my words can speak, and I speak with a little bit of a Queensland drool. So if you're not used to Queensland drool, which most of you should be, working with Ben, then just know that it's okay. Your brain's going to be able to pick up what I'm saying. This is recorded, so you can jump on from there. So champions, we're going to jump in, and I'm going to get in. I'm going to share screen. We're going to start to get our. Oops, that's not the one I want. We're going to jump in, and what I'm going to do is show you that there's lovely waves out there. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to jump in, and I'm going to share the greatness that we've got here. Where are we? All right, it's not playing ball at the moment, but that's okay. We're going to do it this way instead. This is called flexibility working with tech. So here we go. All right, champions. This is about how to navigate 2021. I'm going to give you some clues on what we're seeing in the marketplace, particularly here in Australia, and what we're seeing is working. We've got 3 outcomes that we're going to go through. Number 1, we're going to do a reality check. Yeah, it's all great for us to talk about the future. We can do that. That's all cool. We're going to take a moment just to look at the past and where we are today. The next thing we're going to do is go through what we call our BOSS, which is Business Owner Success System. It's going to give you a specific tactical, practical pathway for if you are here, this is what you should be working on, and that's going to be the bulk of what we go through. And at the very end, I'm going to let you in on a little secret that our members have been hearing for quite a while around how you can have an unfair advantage. We're going to do that right at the very end. So here's the big realization. Here's the principle that we've come to realize with most business owners, that most business owners, most entrepreneurs, their biggest challenge is scaling their business. Now, a lot of people don't understand what scaling really means, but let's say the place where you can free yourself up. The goal is to build an asset. Now, just to be clear on this, you've got an accountant with you, so you're going to be having a balance sheet discussion with them coming up very soon if you haven't already had it in your pre-tax planning. When we're talking about asset, think of it like a property asset for a moment. You've got a house, you've got a building that you invest some money, you may invest some time, you put some energy of some sort into it. Then over a period of time, it will be giving you a cash flow. It will give you something else off the back end, and there will hopefully be an increase in the value and the valuation of the business. Well, that should, the valuation of the property, that should be, Freudian slip, that should be the same for a business as well, because the goal is to build an asset that can run independently of the owner. Now, I know someone's going to say, but I love what I do. This is what I was meant to be. And I'm going, great. That's perfect. You can still do it. But the difference is you don't have to do it. You do it because you choose to do it, and you only do the parts that you want to. And here's the kicker. This may have a little bit of curry powder with it, so bear with me on this one. Until you achieve that, you've really just got a job. And it could be a very high-paid job, or it could be a low-paid job. But just understand that it's still a job. As Ben just said a moment ago, we want to give you what really is working. This is an event that we ran right at the end of last year. It was a hybrid event in person here in Brisbane. And then all the people that were outside Brisbane, there was 350 odd people that came in and we did as a hybrid. The rest were on in different locations via Zoom. But I want to give you an idea of real stuff, not from a textbook that was written by someone in America somewhere 10 years ago, but what's really happening now. And so we're giving you real practical guidance on what's happening. Our members, as Ben said, for 6 years in a row, the average, mathematical average increase in profit from 1 year to the next year, that is 253 1 year, 250, so that's compounding. For the last 6 years, is 253% from 2015 through to 2020. So the stuff we're doing is the stuff that really, really makes the difference. I want to encourage you to listen up. Who am I? Ben's already given me a rundown, so I'll jump over that. Served 18 years in the military, retired as a commander. I was in a couple of war zones, which was interesting. racked up 5 tertiary qualifications. 3 are clinical. So I originally was a dentist, specialised in anaesthetics in dentistry, and then I got an advanced diploma in business and a financial planning diploma. So we've got a dual side to that. Also wrote a book called Bulletproof Business, this little sucker, and that was done in 2016. It was a Amazon bestseller when it came out, and as Ben said, we're a 2 times Telstra Business Award finalists. We were the last time they ran, so we were in the top 5 out of 180,000 businesses. Now, the only reason I say that is not to impress you, but to impress upon you that the stuff that we teach our members, we eat our own cooking on that as well. So the context is good for you to understand. And we work with well over 2,000 businesses now. So we're saying this is what's really working right now and in this country. So let's chat. I want to find out a little bit about you. So just pause for a moment. Could I just ask everyone to do this? And I can't see all your faces, you're going to have to play with me on this, but put your pens down, put your iPads, your texters down, or your phones, and whatever you're doing, just for a moment, just pause for a second. I'd like you to take a big breath in and let it out, and just close your eyes, or whatever you do for a meditative moment, is just think right now in your business today, in this moment, what's the biggest challenge that you've got in your business right now? What's the biggest challenge that you've got in your business right now? So think about what that is. What is the biggest challenge? And what I'd like you to do is, we're going to take a moment now, is in the chat. I've got a second screen here that I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at what you've got on the chat. So in the chat, can you put in there, what's your biggest challenge? We've got a whole stack of people that are on now. I'd like everyone to put at least one thing in, so that when I get in there, I can have a look. So can you jump in now, team? Can you jump in now? And let me know where you are at with what's the biggest challenges. What have people got on here? Okay, all right. I need some real practical stuff, Dominic. Give me I want some real meat and potatoes on this sucker. What is it? What is it for you guys? Let's chat. What's going on? Okay, time, more sales, time, staff. So Steve, first thing on that, I want to encourage you to not call them staff, but call them team. Just from the very beginning, that will help you out heaps. Staff, what else? Lead gen. Okay, usually people say more of that, Danny. Staff that can handle management responsibility, staff keeping their team, leveraging our systems, scaling. So Chris, specifically what in scaling? Scaling is a big topic, and it's a principle rather than a practical. So what's something else in there? Consistency of sales. Okay, great. Getting systems completed. Cool. Okay, so we've got a lot on systems in there as well. Okay, well that's cool. So let's jump in now, and let's hope that you get there. Can you see my screen nicely there, Ben? You got the screen of my little video up in the corner?
Yes. Yep. I think that's working well. Yep.
Great. Okay. So when you think of this challenge, we're going to go through and give you some practical guidance on how to solve that today. I'm going to go through, and now I've got your answers up there. If someone puts something in again, I'll look at it, and as I go through, I'll go, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you. So make sure you chuck it in there so that you're good. Reducing teams. Okay, good.
Could I just double check, David, as well? You've got blue hands like a Smurf. Is that the pop up every now and again?
It could be a little pop up that's coming up every now and then.
Is that intentional?
There is a little funny feature on there, but we can just take that sucker off. So all good. Okay. So I'm very visual. So here we go. Let's do a bit of a reality check. I want to do a little check in on where we are and where we're going. So there's a question for the group, everyone here. What we know is that not only life, business, economies all run in seasons. Now, right now, your industry that you're in will be in a certain season. The city you're in, the state you're in, the country you're in. But what I want to do is I want to take a macro view and think globally. Globally right now, I'd like everyone to go into the chat. What season do you think that we are in? Are we in winter? Are we in spring? Are we in summer? Or are we in autumn? Now, I'm not talking the practical weather season of where we're at right now. What economic season macro do you believe that we are in? Let's see what the team says. In the chat, let's see what you see. Let's get in there and have a good.
Ben? in everyone's own industry or
No,
globally?
I know, I'm not going to say in the industry.
No.
I'm saying the macro
Ah,
across the globe in the
geez. Okay.
general worldwide economy right now. Where is it at? Meg,
Uh-huh.
Tane, okay. Nafis, okay. Spring with some clouds. All right, I love your optimism, Steve. I love it. Winter. Okay, all right, good. So interesting. Now, I don't know if you haven't put it in there, please put it in. So this is cool. Yeah, thanks, Bob. Obviously, Game of Thrones fan. One of the most important things when you think about this is to really understand the seasons, because if anyone knows, just as a general rule, you can use the chat and would investing in property in this country, in let's say mum and dad properties, houses in capital cities, blue chip, is that generally regarded as a good strategy to create wealth, generally speaking? So I'm going to ask that question, and in the chat, so let us know. Do you think that could be a good strategy for most people most of the time? Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Danny. Other Ben, Robin. Okay, okay. So let's. Beautiful. So let's just take another. If you were to invest, very topical right now. Okay, so everyone said yes. If you were to invest and buy one of those properties at the peak of the market, knowing that everything goes in cycles, so it's the right strategy, but you do it at the peak of the market, is that the right strategy? It's a question I ask you. Now, there's no right and wrong on this one. There's kind of like, what do you think? So in the chat now, just share with me, is investing in that type of property I just said then, at the absolute peak of the market, is that the right strategy? All right, so it's interesting that we said yes. Everyone pretty much said yes. And then some people said maybe, or a version of that. Now, the truth is, the right strategy, so listen up, whatever you're doing now, this is the kicker out of this thing. The right strategy at the wrong time is the wrong strategy. So you do need to know what season we are. And just so you know, pretty much everyone got this wrong. I'll be completely clear. Economically, you have got it wrong. There's only, I think, one or two people that actually got it right. Just to be really, really clear, so you know where we are macroeconomically. We are not in most of the seasons that you just said. Where are we right now? This is where we are right now. We've had a downturn. We've had an uptick. There's a growth wave. This is normal. We are here. Team, we are absolutely in winter and moving more into winter. Now, fortunately, in this country, in Australia, we haven't been harbored, or we've been harbored by a lot of, or sheltered from a lot of the drama that's gone on. So we haven't had as big a dip. But this year, the rest of this year is still going to be funky. There is still going to be things that are going to happen. And as we turn, as the market will, and the market will turn around December this year, we're going to have one of the greatest bull runs in our lifetime, if not the greatest, through to 2026, 2027. We have this window of opportunity to play your cards right. Now, the decisions you make today, the things you literally make today, are going to make a massive difference to your future. The way you play your cards right now, it's a season of winter. You should be doing winter activities, not spring and not summer. If you do that, you run out of cash. If you do that, you'll be doing the right strategy at the wrong time, and you're going to miss the boat. And you're going to go, oh, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Whatever your issue, and everyone has an issue. Has anyone ever felt that they've, like, other than me, has anyone ever felt that they've had imposter syndrome? Can I get a show of hands? Anyone else feels? Raise your hands if you're anyone else. All right, good. All right, so here's a little secret. I don't tell people this very often, but the only people that don't have imposter syndrome are imposters. Just putting it out there. So whatever mindset issue or whatever thing saying why you can't, whatever story it is now's the time to get over it. and just do the work that you need to, because the next sprint between now and December this year are absolutely vital in the life of your business. You play your cards right and you'll create intergenerational wealth for your business, for your family, and those that are people around you. So I really want to encourage you to bring this high degree of urgency to everything you do. Now I'm going to give you a pathway that you can move out. And keeping in mind that more millionaires are made in the season of winter than any other season. It's the people that play their cards right now will reap the rewards later. Now, little caveat on this. Within industries, some of them are having massive spring in there. Anyone who's in the digital marketing space or going on the online space has had a big boom when COVID hit. If you had shares in Zoom, you would have had a great season. So for you, that would have been, you'd be in spring moving into summer. However, for the macroeconomic climate, what we are in the season of winter. But as we know, as winter finishes, spring will come, and spring is coming in around December this year. So what we want to do now, that's the first thing we wanted to go through. Now we want to do is go, right, well, based on what we've just learned and what we've gone through, what can you do? What can you do? What's the right strategy for you right now? So what I want to do is take you through the steps. And there are 6 specific steps for you to go into. Now, the challenge is when most people get advice from people, or they get perspective, or they read a textbook, it's the right strategy. It's just not the right strategy for them, for where they are right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through what the steps are, what the strategies are for each of the steps. I'm going to give you the overview of what that is. Now, if you want to have some help on how to go deeper on this, then there's an opportunity at the end. If you want to have a chat to us, happy to have a chat. We can help you to fine tune that. We're doing that as something for Ben and the Inspire team. So for now, I want to take you through each of these steps. The first step is what we call the startup phase. Now, the startup phase, as a guide, it's somewhere between $0 to $10,000 a month. Now, if you're in construction, or if you're in retail, or if you are in, say, restaurants and cafes in that space, this still applies to you. The only little difference is this 0 to 10 is your gross profit, not your revenue. But for everyone else, if you're in a service business of any sort, then this will be your revenue. So for everyone else, like in construction or anyone who has large cost of goods sold, then for you guys, that's your GP or gross profit. You need help on that, then talk to the Inspire team and they'll sort that out for you. So in this phase here, you're a little bit stuck. There's a little bit of like, it's life and death in many ways. Having said that, it's actually a little bit fun. It's relatively new. And by the way, you could be a startup and be in business for many, many years. But you could be excited. The principle here, this is the thing that you need, that is important to be nailed if you're in this stuck in this early stage, is to learn how to create a proven concept. How do you create something that will sell the marketplace? So it's an iterative process where you go out, you create something, you build something, you put it to market, and then you test it and come back. It's the speed of evolutions on your ability to do that is the key. Where I see people get stuck is they're far too slow. They go out, I'm going to build this thing. And I need to get my website perfect. I need my colors just to be like who it's standing for, who I am. My website needs to be perfect. And now I need to do a blog. And then businesses pass you by, and these next 8 months or so, you've missed the boat. It's not the time to do that. In this place here, you've got to be in the marketplace. You've got to be in presenting your amazing value to the marketplace as often as you possibly can. So it's a combination of product development and getting out there and discussing it with people in say in the general public, but whoever your ideal client is. As you do that, you may think, you know what? I don't really like working with those people. These are the people. These are my peeps. These are the ones I want to work with. That's what happens in this stuck phase, in startup. The next part, what we call a survival. Sometimes in startup phase, people are not all in. They've got a side hustle. This is a side hustle. They've got a full-time job, or they've got something else going on. But when you get into and you go, actually, I'm going to go all into this thing. And in this phase here, this is where the business is doing somewhere around $10,000 to $30,000 a month. When it's $10,000 to $30,000 a month, you're starting to get some revenue, you're starting to get some stuff. It's still a race for survival. You're still like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this thing? And the business feels like it's a little bit stalled. Like, you've got something, you've got a proven concept. But what ends up happening is you end up being super duper busy. And you look at your time and you go, oh man, I'm like so busy. Especially when you start to consider what it was like down here. So in this survival phase, you're now starting to get a proven concept. You're now starting to get this idea of how to run a promotion, how to actually get out there and market. Now, for most businesses, most of the time, if the business is doing a revenue per month, by the way, these are all per month, this is the money per month, under $30,000 a month, it's just hard. It's just difficult. I'm going to encourage you, even if you're a solo hero, to do whatever you can to really hustle, do whatever you can to get the revenue of the business up to at least $30,000 or more. What we've found is there's a pivotal point, there's a marker, just like we've got here. There's a shift that occurs once the business clicks over to $30,000 a month, or if you're construction, retail, or restaurants, that's 30,000 GP for you. Okay, so there's a shift, there's a change in gears, like a few things get in there that have things click. This whole phase is all the hunt phase. And you know what? It's fun, it's exciting, but it's also like a life and death. So as I've gone through there, you want to be thinking, what were some things that David said? Listen to what I said around what are the things that you need to be nailing in that area. What we're going to now do is we're going to switch gears and go, okay, cool, we've got to this $30,000 a month. We're in that phase. What do we need to do next? It's about getting stability in the business. Now, just on that hunt phase, if you are in that hunt phase, the speed of iteration, I'll say that again, of putting it to the marketplace and bringing it back is just got to be absolutely on point, especially in this next 8 months. You've got to be moving into the green this year. Even if you're at zero right now, you've got to be getting in by the end of the year to be doing your equivalent of $30,000 a month by December this year. That should be your target, so you can make sure you can milk it as the marketplace moves. What's stability? Well, stability is somewhere between $30,000 to $80,000 a month. At this phase here, you've got some traction, you've got some movement, you've got some marketing material that's out there, you're making some sales. Chances are you're the one doing most of the sales. Chances are you're now having some problems with your team. God, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. How many times have I told them to do this? I need more systems, but I haven't got the time to build the system. I need more team, but I haven't got the time. I don't know if I've got the money to put it in and train them up. I'm so busy. I'm super duper busy is what ends up happening here. Now, the good thing in this instability though, and the reason why we say this is a better place to be is in stability. You're a little bit frustrated because you can see the potential. You can see what's on there. You're getting some feedback from the marketplace. You're now getting the ability to actually, I've got a good product. I know now how to make this thing work. And now you're going, I need to start to build my team. And you're realizing there's some holes in your bucket, dear Liza. And things are not necessarily working out. And you're working your butt off. Then we go to the next level in scale. Now, true scale, what true scale really means is for your energy output or for your money output that you put out, you get a disproportionately higher return than what you did before that scale. Most people grow their businesses. Now, you can grow your mindset. You can grow your leadership ability. Got that. But you want to be very careful about growing a business. You want to scale a business. And if you're growing a business, and you may have seen this, businesses are out there that they grow, and then they're gone. This is a dangerous time. So this part here, you've really got to dial it in and make sure you're on point. Most of the 8-figure businesses that we work with, we built a formula, a strategy that looking at why every 8-figure business that we ever work with hated their business. Every single one. They were making more profit when they were 7 figures, and they're having way more fun when they were 7 figures. They were usually at this stage between 80 to 350K. Most of the ones that said like we were the most profitable, had the most fun, was when they were here. They were in the scale phase, somewhere between 80 to 350K. Most of them around 350K a month. When they're hitting that run rate, they've got a suite, and if you wanted to call it a lifestyle business, they've got a lifestyle business. There's one problem though. There's still some friction. And that is, everyone's still coming to them. They're still the lead salesperson. They're still the person who's the major figurehead of the business. It still relies on them. And they have what we call, in this phase, they have what we call Octopus Syndrome.
Oh dear.
Not that anyone here would know what that's like, but Octopus Syndrome is really, really simple. And that is there's one brain, there's lots of tentacles, and everything sucks because it still relies on you. And we don't need you don't need to do that. You can build a business that can move past it. Now, the interesting thing, if we come back to here, in this phase, in this green phase here, which is hurting, imagine this is you hunting in the marketplace. Now you're starting to get your peeps. You're starting to get a following. You're starting to get a group of people that go, actually, we really like what these people are doing. We really like what that looks like. We're loving the feeling that's coming from this. It's cool. You probably won't have a very saleable asset at this point though. It'll still be key person risk. It'll still have some hairs on it, but it could be okay. This here, you could argue you're on the borderline, depending on whether you're closer to the 80K or the 350K, of just having a high paid job. The shift though, and this is the key one, is moving into the next level. This is what I really like to encourage everyone to be thinking this right now. If you're in, by the way, if you're in this phase of the herd phase, get excited. One of the things that you know is look back in the past and look back when you're in this startup and survival phase. Now, the funny thing is, if you're in the hunt, that survival and startup phase, have a talk to someone who's in the stability and scale phase. Because the interesting thing is, when you get into this phase here, certainly the 80 to 350K, you look back on these days here, and you know you used to say, geez, I'm busy. It's not until you get up here and you go, oh my God, I wasted so much time down here. I was not busy. Now I'm busy. Now I'm seriously, at a bottleneck, and I'm seriously got some friction, even though I'm making good cash. So let's talk about what the next step looks like. The next bit is what we call STAR. And STAR, it's somewhere between 350 and 800K. Now you can sit at the 350. Sometimes it's a little touch more than that. To 400, and you can be on that borderline. You've made the shift into STAR. Now in the STAR phase, you get a true sense of freedom. At this point here, you now have a team that can do the promotion for you. They can do the promotions, the marketing, they can sell. The big shift in here is that you have a team that can sell being without you. Once you can unlock that part there, you now have a massive amount of scale that kicks into the business. This is a great phase. At this phase here, this is usually where we see a lot of our business that we coach get gobbled up by someone else, or they get a proposal to sell their business, and they usually don't have to work ever again from there. So this is a cool phase to be in business. And the next one here is what we call success. And that's when you hit into the 800K plus, and you've got your in flow. Now, the truth is you can achieve some of that in STAR. You just got to make sure you nail the part in STAR, and particularly when you're in this herd phase, you're now in the harvest, but you're harvesting because you've now built a team. Has anyone ever heard the expression multiple streams of income? Has anyone ever heard that? Can I get a hands up on that? Everyone heard multiple streams of income? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you may have heard that. The only thing is it's a little misleading, but it sells books, and it's good for those people that are, you can go and make multiple streams of income. Here's the truth: if you want to do this truly, properly, the way that's sustainable, it's not about multiple streams of income. It's about having multiple teams of income. The important part here is your ability as a leader to master the ability to grow the team to do this. You build one business, then you can build a second business. You can have multiple teams that are working within that. So wherever you are right now, you're going to take a stock and go, what did David say? What were the things that you should be doing in this next step? This is what we call the boss steps. Now, behind each one of these, we have specific training, we have specific things that go through to really unbottle that. But the biggest lesson that we learned was working with the dudes that were at the 800K plus, the 8-figure businesses, and going, okay, what did they do wrong? What do they wish that they put into place? Because the truth is, you can actually grow the revenue of a business, but still have a unstable business, a shaky business, not based on the solid foundations. That's dangerous. That's when you see businesses grow, and then they're gone. We don't want that for you, and especially not in the Inspire team, as in with being part of the Inspire group. So the three things we're going to go through. One is where are we in the seasons? Knowing the contextual arrangement of where we are macroeconomically is really important. Second thing, we went through the boss steps. So now you know that there's different steps in navigating. Rather than trying to do the step that's to above, I just need to focus on the one that I'm in here and nail that before you then go to the next thing. Don't jump on the dopamine hit of going to the next course or the next seminar or the next kind of like, you can make $1 million on your underpants working from home. Like, that stuff just doesn't work. If you want to do it properly and through rigor, do it the way we just went through there, it works. And we've done it for many years, so trust us. The saying we normally have is trust us now, believe us later. Here's the third thing we want to go through. We call it the unfair advantage. Knowing what you now know, you now have an unfair advantage. Unfair advantage for you competing against yourself, as in where you were prior. Now you actually, I can actually have an unfair advantage based on my thinking prior to this. I can now actually do even better. You have an unfair advantage against or the other people that are in your circle of influence. Unfair advantage on your competition, particularly with what I'm going to say right now. So listen up. The principle of this comes from an amazing book. There we go. An amazing book from Napoleon Hill. It only came out a few years ago. I'll just see if you can see there. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And the principle here is very, very simple. And this is the articulation of that principle. That when you look at a journey, when you look at life, and particularly in business, more so in business, it's amplified, is there are three ways to play the game. Three ways. The first way is what we call a drifting business. Now, a drifting business, for example, is like, hey, we got JobKeeper, got a good war chest, things are looking good. You know what? We'll just maybe cruise. We'll see what happens with the economy. We'll just see where we're going. We'll just keep on doing what we're doing. Okay. If you're thinking like that, you may not have a business by the end of the year. Because there's still stuff that's going to go on. There's still some drama that's going to be coming, and it ain't over yet. Second way you can play the game, is number two, is what we call a dabbler. They have a dabbling business. They give it a go over to this. They get a little dopamine hit, a little sugar hit of, oh, I'm going to learn how to do the new Facebook ad thing. And I'm going to go over here and do this. And what they end up doing is become little junkies going around learning different things and thinking that they're making progress. But in actual fact, they're dabblers. They're just putting their toe in. They're not fully committing, not making decisions to really go for it. And what I'm going to say is the next 8 months is the time to go for it. It is the time to make decisions. It is the time. You don't have the luxury of time anymore because you've got this short window of opportunity. And I'm going to encourage you to be very, very careful of this as a dabbler business because you may be thinking you're making progress, but in actual fact, you're not. The good thing is you've got the Inspire team. And they're freaking, like, I don't know accountants that are better than these guys, and we work with people around the globe. So you're fortunate that they're going to give you a nudge, especially if you're doing this, but they'll also give you a nudge if you're doing this. Here's the next option. I want to encourage you, if you're on today, you're here for a reason. You're here because you want to make a difference. You want to do something differently. I want to encourage you to be a decisive business. I want to encourage you to go for it because the difference it's going to make will be massive to you. Not now, you've got to plant the seeds and do the work now, although you will see some of it now, but what's going to happen in the future. Because if this is where we are today, if this is the moment in time that we are now, if we fast forward 3 years from now, if we look at where we are today and we look at the difference between the drifter, by the way, the drifter is putting effort in. Have you ever tried to go on a diet or a health thing and then after a while you just kind of let things happen and it's not to 3 months later, 4 months later, you go, oh man, you wake up to yourself and it's like, I better get back onto it. And what you've really lost, you'll get to the outcome eventually, what you've really lost is time. But time is not on your side anymore. Time is now to move. The time is now to be decisive. So the difference between a dabbling business or a decisive dabbler and someone who's decisive, it doesn't look like a lot right now. But if you look at the passage of time, if we go fast forward 3 years from now, the difference here, come back here, the difference here is massive. So if you look here from the red line to the red line to the green line, the difference that you can see with the passage of time over the next 3 years, that gap that is created here, that becomes irretrievable. So I'm going to encourage you to make sure, if you haven't already booked your end of financial year tax session with Inspire CA, bit of a plug for them on this because I know how good they are at doing it. Make sure you get in and do it. Find out what your war chest is. If you have to get in and invest in your business right now, now's the time to do it. You want to move and you want to make decisions today. You want to get the clarity, but you want to move fast. So that's the bit that I want to show you. You now have the context, what's happening economically. And when everyone's in fear mode, which they can do, you're going to be going out there with rigor and put the foundations in place. You're going to invest in yourself and in the business to make sure you plant the seed and be a decisive business. Hope that makes everyone. What I'm going to do is I'll come back for a Q&A that everyone's got, because we've got plenty of time to do that as well. So here's just on that, do we have any questions that you would like to pass by us at all?
And that could be with this unfair advantage or the previous model we had a look at, which was the startup to, was it success?
Yeah, so if anyone got any questions on that, and what I might do, if you've got any questions, put them into the chat. And what I'll do is I'll be able to jump in and answer a few of those. Then I've got something special for the Inspire CA team, as in the community here, that we're going to do for everyone. But I'd like to see in there any questions we've got in there. I'm looking at some of the things on here. Well, let's put it into the chat. And this is the time that you get. Trust me, that our time is highly valuable, and this is an opportunity for you. If you've got any questions, put them to the chat. And what else do you want to ask? Or Ben, if you'd like to ask anything on behalf of your members to get the ball rolling on this, then I'm happy to jump in and just answer some of those. And then I've got something special to let the team know.
Yeah, cool. One of my questions is, you mentioned globally we're kind of just getting into winter. What about on a national level? Again, you said that we've been relatively protected from some crazy stuff happening around the world. But yeah, where are we at from a national perspective, even if that is the same?
Okay. Australia is pretty close with the rest of the world, and because because whatever happens in the US, when the US gets sneezes, Australia catches a cold.
Yeah.
So we're going to be very careful what's going on there. We're also going to be very careful what's happening in China. Now, I have family who live in China, has for over 20 years, so I understand pretty well what's going on there. But that's a massive powerhouse. And it's way bigger than what most people think it is, like way, 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 way bigger. And is it going to be the global dominating force? Is it possible, maybe probable, that their currency becomes a global currency in a certain number of years' time? Quite possibly. So we look at those two big powerhouses and go, okay, is there friction going on in Australia, between Australia and China? And the answer to that is yes. So you go, okay, we've got two big economies. We've also got India, who's a big supporter of Australia as well, especially from a mining perspective, and an importer, and they do lots of stuff with Australia. You look at three of the biggest countries in the world, who Australia relies on heavily, and you go, isn't that interesting? Yes, we're doing good now. Yes, our property market's moving for now. So what I'd be doing is there are specific things to do in winter. There's specific things to be doing within a business right now to get your war chest solid, to put the chocks into place, to get your product on point, to be very, very clear around what your offering is, and to make sure that you're super on point so you can be super efficient. And that is, efficiency, what I mean by that is you deliver an amazing, full and remarkable solution to your clients, to the people you serve. And the profit, particularly as a margin, as a percentage, is a better margin now than it was a year ago. And in a year's time, it'll be an even better margin, but they're getting a better result. The way we would normally say that, Ben, is to compress for quality. So now's the time to be putting in the effort in that. The marketplace will shift. Each industry will move a little bit, but the short answer to that is Australia as a country should be preparing for more drama.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Well, fantastic in a way, like we've got a bit of a heads up, but cool. All right, we've had a couple of questions come through. So Ben Young's I think that might be a note. So he said, like the encouragement around the time that you can't get back. Awesome, Ben. Rebecca has asked, our BHAG sits in the scale zone. Should we be revising it up to the star zone?
It's a good question. It's a really good question, actually. What I might do, you mind if I share screen?
Yeah, all good. far
Okay,
away.
what I'm going to do is I'll just do this a little bit differently because I think it's a quality question to ask. Well, it's probably one of the greatest things about being in the coaching world, business coaching world, is that it's an unregulated business. That's one of the greatest things about it. One of the worst things
Thanks,
about
David.
yeah,
uh,
I know. I gotta. One of the worst things about it is that it's an unregulated business. So what it means is a lot of people will go out, they'll read books, and they'll go, "All right, this is what you should do." And what I see happen is people are given advice or guidance that's not probably what they should be hearing, and they get half of a result. I'd say most of the people that come to us have already done all the courses, they've already had coaches, and they go, "It sort of worked, but it kind of didn't." And the classic example is, "I've grown my revenue, but I'm making less profit than I did before. I think I'm doing everything right." So this is really important. Just coming to Rebecca's question, just imagine for a moment that, because I know you're using some words, and you go, "David, why are you spending so much time on this here?" Because this is context and this is super important. Because you've used two different meanings, Rebecca, and they actually mean different things. So what I want to do is unpack that for you to help you understand. Because what you just said here is our BHAG. Our BHAG is at a scale level, I think you said, a scale zone.
mhm.
And that I would imagine would be based on a dollar figure here. And I'm going, cool, love that. A big, hairy, audacious goal should be something that is almost ethereal, almost difficult for you to achieve. We call it a grand, and you know this, Ben. We call this a grand vision. In your mind, this is 10 plus years. So I'm completely okay that you got a BHAG that is in the scale zone or even higher up, which is perfect. The only thing is if you read between the lines of what you said, is what you really said, and I'm saying this with love, is here's our goal. This is where we're shooting. Should we bring this? Should we bring this? Should we bring this goal? Should we bring this? Oh, they've got to take on your head too. Should we bring this down and put this down here? Is what you're saying. That's the way that it's written there. And what I'm saying is no. No, it's actually perfectly okay for you to set a BHAG that's in the scale zone. However, what is really important to understand, if this is 10 years plus, there's got to be milestones beforehand.
Cool.
And this is the 1 year, and let's say this is the 3 year. What we find actually is 1, 2, and 3 years. Most people can't really plan, and even this current speed of change, you can't really do more than 3 years anyway. So if you go, this is where we want to go, this is the top of the hill, this is our BHAG, Rebecca, stay on it. Like, I'm good with that. Now what you want to do is then bring it back and go, all right, cool, this is where we need to be in 1 year, and there are 3 things: money, time, and impact. So that's how I would say that for you is keep the BHAG, but make sure you're super clear on what your next target is here. Over to you, Ben. Anything else you want to go on? Then I've got something special I want to pass on.
Yeah, we've got one more question. If anyone's got any last questions, just pop them in that chat box. But
I'll hang around at the end for anyone who's got any more stuff that they want to jump into. So I'll stay for as long as we need to. That's totally cool.
Great. Thank you. So Tani has asked, what would be the first main step you would suggest to be a decisive business and use the winter opportunity between now and December? Marketing, recruitment, systems, maybe something else?
Good question, Tani. I would need to have a chat with you just to find out where you're at. So maybe in the context of what we just said, let's try to jump on it. As you said on here, is it marketing, is it recruitment, or is it systems? And the answer to that is maybe. What I would say is, where are you right now in the different levels? Because when we know where you are very specifically, and where sometimes someone can be at this level here from a financial perspective, but the business is really the level. In fact, most people think that they're a level above. Whatever the level you thought you're at, you're probably the level below, just quietly. That's pretty much what we see most of the time. So what I'd say in that is it could be any of those, but what I'd say is, what is the next step for you now? It really depends on what level you're at right now. If you don't have a proven concept, then you need to get your marketing sorted. If you are still the massive bottleneck, then you need to get recruitment. But if you don't have your marketing and your sales sorted, then you'll just be adding more in there, team in, and your business will become bloated, and it'll become slow, and it won't be as efficient, and it won't be as effective. and do we need to look at systems? And the answer is, well, you should be building systems all the time. What I see sometimes people do, they go, well, once we get all our systems, especially those who've got, if you understand this language, steel energy, they love dotting I's. Once I've got my systems, then I'll be ready to go. If you've ever said that, if you've ever said this, by the way, if you ever said, once I've got my systems ready, then I'll be able to go in and get a new website, go and get money. If you're saying that, I want massive red alarm bells going for you, and massive holy shit, I'm doing the wrong strategy for me right now. That's a surefire sign that you're not nailing the bits that you really need to be nailing on that. So it's really, to answer your question there, Tony, it just really does depend on where you are at with your business on that one there. Cool.
Yeah, awesome.
So what I'm going to do is I'll just, and Ben, if you can just collect or collate the rest of the questions. What I'm going to do,
yes,
if it's okay, is because some of those questions might be a little bit personal, which I get that. I understand you don't want to share on here. So what we've done is knowing the right steps for you right now is super critical. Like never in the time in history, or it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur and be in business, number one. And number two, there's never been a better time to make sure that you've got the right strategy for you right now. So Ben's twisted our arm on this one, and we're very happy because we love the Inspire team, and like I said, many of our members are Inspire clients as well. Is we've got something special for you, if that's okay. So we're going to give you everything we can in the time that we've got. Is if you would like to have something personal, if you'd like to have a chat and go, you know what, I need a little bit of help. I just want to know what I need to be doing, what the next steps are for me right now. Then what we're happy to do is to offer what we call a growth driver call. This is like a personal growth driver call. Here's what we're going to cover, 3 things. We're going to look at your vision and your goals, a little bit of what we talked about just then around the BHAG. The second thing we're going to do is look at what is your bottleneck. Okay, within 3 to 4 minutes, we'll know exactly where you are and go, boom, based on that, these are the top 3 things that you should be focusing on right now. So vision and goals, bottlenecks, and the third thing is, okay, based on that, here are the 3 next steps for you. So this is a growth driver call. It's right for you. So if you're thinking, I wouldn't mind having a session on this, if you've got an open mind, like we don't sugarcoat things. I ain't got time to muck around, and nor do you. And it's like, we're just going to tell you from our perspective. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that based on over 2,000 businesses and getting a profit and loss and balance sheet every month, we know what works, what really, really works. So if you're open-minded and you're ready to listen, if you're committed, if you're someone that says, you know what, I want to be on that green line. I want to make sure that I'm in pole position as I go forward. So if you kind of go, that's me. And next thing is you're willing to put in the work. If you're a dabbler, do this and do that, a bit flaky on some things, please don't book it. I don't want you to waste your time. I definitely don't want you to waste mine. So if you're open-minded, you're committed, willing to put in the work, then what we'll do is we'll have a call. It'll be literally with myself and our CEO, Fusun, who runs this business. And what we'll do is we'll get in. There's a questionnaire for you to fill in. So if you want to schedule a call with us, all you got to do is book the call, which I'll give you a link in a moment to do that, and then complete the questionnaire. It's a very short questionnaire, goes through about 5 questions. We're going to study that. We'll also go onto your website. We'll study that. We'll look at your social media. We'll have a look at that. Now, don't worry if you go, oh, my website should be this. Everyone's got website shame in some degree. It's all good. We'll just look at it. That just helps us know where we're at. So don't go and change it in the short period of time now. We just want to see where you're at. We'll do our homework. We'll make sure we're well prepared. So when we get there, we'll hit the ground running, and it'll be a very, very on point meeting. So if that's for you, if you're in that category, you go, yep, I'm wanting to dial this in, and I want to make sure now's the time. Then this is the time to grab your phone. If you grab your phone, I think most people going to restaurants now know how to do this sucker. If you jump on your phone, open up the camera, and you can just scan the QR code. It should, if you've got an iPhone, it'll bring it up on your screen. Or what we'll do is we will put a link into the chat, or it's already gone in. So there's a link in the chat there. You can go straight to there, and you can book a call. Now we've got way more people on here than there are spots. We've booked this afternoon and a little bit on Tuesday. So literally, it's going to be a first come, first serve, simply because those people are going to be decisive, so they're the ones who are going to work on it. We're literally going to lay a game plan out for you in that call. So for you to apply for the call, all you do, jump on the link, look at a time. So look at the date, look at a time. So pick a date and time, and then put in your details, and then there'll be a short questionnaire for you to complete. So if you want to do that, and it will be first served, you can jump in and do that. Do that now, and I'll make sure that you've locked that in. And once that's done, we are good to go. So we are finished. We're on time, so a little bit early, Ben, which is great. So if everyone wants to book in a time now, then they can go ahead and do that. And what we'll do is open up to any other Q&As that we need to jump into.
Cool. So we do have one question that's come through as well from Meg.
Yeah.
Meg has asked, what would your advice? What would be your advice to market a product that hasn't been proven yet? And just to add to that, what's the best way to prove it if it's a niched product?
Do you know what the product is and how niche it is, Ben?
No, I don't. So, Meg, did you? I can allow you to talk if you'd like
If you want to give me some context, so I can do general principles anyway, so that's fine. Yeah. So I can still do that because the principle's the same, but I can make it even more on point for you, Meg.
Financial services.
That's even
product.
easier. That's great. So I'm going to assume Meg for a moment. It's not good to assume, but I'm going to assume, and Ben, you can help me out, that Meg's already got some flow. So is the question I'd ask here, is there flow? What I mean by flow, is there a business or is it a complete startup? Or is it a product within an existing business, like it's an add-on product? Do you have any clues around that, Ben?
No, I'm not sure. It's an add-on product.
Okay,
there we go.
Okay, perfect. So even easier. So if you're going to test it out, what we do, and this is one of our secrets, in COVID, this saved most of our members, and they made an amazing amount of growth on this. There's two things I'm going to call this signaling and beta. It's totally okay for you to go out there with a product that you're learning how to do, and the way to do it is really, really simple. Is signal. Don't put any more work into it. Don't put any more. I need to get the web page, or I need to have the flyer, the brochure ready, and any of that. It's a waste of time right now. It's the wrong strategy or the wrong step at the wrong time. What we want to do first is signaling. So the people that you think are going to be the ideal clients for that product, like you have them in mind, is to whatever the messaging system you use. It could be social media, which is often the common one. It's usually best done if it can be done in a public forum. The more public the forum is, the better it is. But it also can be done by email, and it also can be done live, like in a group. So whatever the setting is, wherever that pool of people are or potentially are, is for you to put out a message. And it's something really simple as, who would be interested in? Or another way I say it, I've been asked how to do whatever the financial product outcome is. And I'm going to assume that people have asked you this. I've been asked, a lot of people are asking me how do they supersize their super. Just play with me on this. Supersize my super, and we've got an amazing strategy that we've been using that gets a 120% return over 3 years, whatever that is. Would anyone else be interested in learning how to do this? So you put it out. Now, the reason I say a public forum is there's a thing called social proof. If you have social proof and there's a whole stack of people who are looking at this and going, wow, this is cool. We love what Meg's doing on this sucker here. And we go, I want in. Then you go, great. What I'm doing is I'm going to be running a beta group. So you'll need to have I'm going to run a beta group. If they're interested, then you go to the second step and then you would do more of a presentation of, right, this is what it's about, this is what it looks like. Start with a small number. I'm going to say somewhere around 10 is usually a good number to start with. Okay, I'm looking for 10, just 10 people, the ideal people that work. Now, part of the caveat on that is that we're going to be building this together, so you're going to help me to co-create this along the way. And that is how a whole stack of our members last year, created a whole heap of spin-off products, and made a heap of cash, and now are having businesses that they love a lot more than they ever did before. So that's so Ben, that's my rundown. That's how I would answer that one. On there's a little bit of detail on that, but hopefully this gives the next run on that, Meg. So other than that, my team just let me know there's already like half the spots have already been filled up. So
Wonderful.
if you haven't already done it, jump in and let's have a chat with myself or Foos, Savo, and on Tuesday, and we'll get in and give you good love on what your next steps are.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the offer there, mate. And I know those calls and even sort of having a conversation with you or Foos has been fantastic in the past. So yeah, that's great.
Cool.
Alrighty.
All right, bud. Well, I'm going to leave that over to you for here. If there's anything else that comes in, your team can just let us know, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, no worries. Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for joining and sort of giving up an hour or so on a Friday morning. Just another reminder again on our federal budget webinar coming up on the 12th of May. So that's only a couple of weeks away now. Yeah, look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. And thanks again, David. Really appreciate your time.
Hey Ben, great to be with the team, and totally good to have some time with you guys. So let's go out there, keep being bold, keep having fun, and keep making magic.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Ben. Cheers. Bye.